Hey, what's up guys? I've got a really cool video I want to show you. I was able to sit down with the creator of Scotch.io, and if you haven't been to Scotch.io, it is a web development resource with tutorials, courses, and anything web dev related. So I was able to sit down with Chris and talk to him about how he first got into computers and how he also was able to turn his side project, which is Scotch.io, into his full-time job. So the interview was a lot of fun to do. He's a really cool guy. And here's the interview. Cool, dude. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I know your schedule's probably busy, and I'm actually excited to talk to you and kind of pick your brain and learn more about you and about Scotch.
Sure. Yeah. Happy to be here. I love all the stuff you've been doing online, and I always love chatting with people.
Oh, thanks, dude. You too. I actually wanted to create this video because I seen you tweet that you are working on Scotch full time, which is really cool. So let's start off from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
I am born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Still here, still hanging out. But yeah, I love it here. Yeah.
Okay. That's very cool. So when was the first time that you started using computers? Like when did you first maybe start programming or even get your first computer?
I like thinking back to my first computer because
me too.
It was I'm 30 years old now, so it's like I remember back when floppy disks were still a thing and all that stuff. So we got our first computer, and I totally destroyed it. I wrecked the thing. Like what ended up happening was I got a cereal box. I think it was Captain Crunch, and there was like a CD in the cereal box for a video game. So I installed it, and it said, hey, you don't have enough like room on your computer to install this thing. And I think at the time it meant memory, like RAM. So in my head, I said, oh, maybe if I just go in and delete files, I'll have enough room to play this stupid game. So I ended up deleting on Windows. There's a crucial folder called System32. And I deleted the crap out of that thing.
That's awesome. What Windows was this? What operating system was that?
I believe it was 93 or 95, one of the two.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I remember back in the day, Windows 95, and what was the one before that? Windows 3.1.1, where there was like paint. Do you remember that one?
Not really. I think 95 might have been where I started at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually wanted to get a little bit of your background as far as like jobs. Like what are some of the past jobs that you had? Maybe one of your worst jobs, maybe one of your best jobs?
Sure. I've been seeing that thread running around Twitter where they say like post your 5 jobs and then retweet this thing. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's been this week. It's like flooding my feed. Everyone's posting their 5 jobs that they had before programming.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
that'd be fun.
Yeah, it's cool because a lot of people are like, oh, I worked construction, or I was like a pizza delivery or all this stuff. But now they work at like Google, Facebook, all these things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool to see. So I was going to do the same thing, but I think I've been a little bit, I would say my job pool has been pretty cool. But a through line through all of it is I have pretty much been teaching through all of it. So my very first job was a swim instructor.
Really?
So I taught people how to swim. Yeah. And what's crazy is they would give us like 3-month-old kids and say, teach this kid how to swim. And at that point, they don't even like, it's just natural for them to do like a doggy paddle. So you kind of just hold them and do like a dip. And that's how you teach 3-month-olds to swim.
You're like, I'll just keep them alive.
Yeah. And they'll enjoy their time. That's it.
That's awesome. What about some like tech jobs that you had too? Like did before going full-time on Scotch?
Sure. I basically went swim instructor, and then I went lifeguard, and then I worked at Sprint, and then I worked, and then I got my first tech job, which is a company in town, Las Vegas, called Papillon, Papillon.com. And they are the world's largest touring company in the world. So they do helicopter tours over the Grand Canyon. They do like ATV tours around the Grand Canyon, a bunch of tours for the Grand Canyon and for the Strip, for the Las Vegas Strip. So it was really interesting because that was the first like big thing, big company I worked for. And we ended up building like their whole booking system.
What was the technology you guys used? Was it ASP?
So we used PHP.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to remember the frame. It for sure wasn't Laravel. I think before that it was CodeIgniter we were using.
Oh yeah, I was a big fan of CodeIgniter.
Yeah, me too. And then I tried to get the push to Laravel going. I think they went with something else. I forget its name. But and then the front end was completely like a jQuery thing.
Oh yeah.
And it was a mess. I was over here storing like every variable and like data attributes all over the place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's fun to see where the web has gone, but yeah, I was using HTML elements as my Redux store, and it was just ridiculous.
Oh yeah. So you mentioned Redux. You use do you use React as well?
Yeah, I used a lot of React.
Okay.
Scotch is pretty much Scotch is a Laravel site, completely served, and then through like Laravel's rendering and all that stuff, and then we just throw React on top for stuff like the real-time search, small stuff.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of funny because I know Vue.js is like heavily backed by a lot of Laravel or a lot of Laravel developers.
The Laravel community.
Yeah, use Vue.js.
Yeah. I use Vue.js. So I'm a Google dev expert, GDE for Google. And I started my JavaScript journey in Angular, like jQuery, and then I jumped straight into Angular JS, so version 1, and did all that. But the reason we went React for Scotch, the new redesign, because I've redesigned like every 6 months, I get bored. But
that's awesome. It's just fun, right?
Yeah, it is fun. I will say that this redesign kind of like wore me out because it's like, how many times can I create the same form? Like, I just want to design the design, not have to redo like the inner working components, like the forms.
But sometimes you go down a path and then you have to change up like some of the inner workings, right?
Yeah. Well, this redesign was a big one, a huge one. Like, it probably doesn't show on the surface. But this redesign was completely like, we got rid of any session authentication and is 100% like JWT auth.
Very cool. So I see you're constantly making changes to Scotch.io. Have you ever went down a path where you're like kind of making some modifications and doing some changes, and maybe you have it on a branch, and then after maybe a couple months or a certain amount of time of working on it, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to revert back to this old version. Has it ever come up?
I think not really. We do pretty well at like any change that we want. We pretty much compartmentalize it, so it's not that big of a change.
Okay.
Right. Like any commits we have is just touching like max 5 files, you know?
Okay.
But no, I haven't really gone down that path, luckily. And that's probably because there have been times we've gotten stuck, right? Like on some new feature, but I'm the type of dev that's like, I don't want to call it a sunk cost. I will just dig all the way through and finish this feature, even though it's like not the best.
I'm the same way too. But, yeah. I might like go down one direction. I'm like, oh man, I'm in too deep. Like this is going to take, 2 months, 3 months to finish out this feature. And I'm like, you know what? I'm already this far in. I might as well just keep going.
Yeah. I'm going through the tunnel. I'm waiting to see the light at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm that way. But like, Scotch is lucky because since it's just me and a co-founder pretty much as far as, on the code base.
Okay. So is you and who else is helping you build Scotch?
His name is Nick Sermonera.
Okay. And he lives in Vegas as well?
He grew up with me in Vegas.
Okay.
That's how we met, was high school. But he's currently in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Yeah. So he actually doesn't do too much of the blog side. We basically separate Scotch into 2 parts, 2 arms. We have the blog side, which is the side that I'm completely on. And then we have the freelance side, which is what he completely does. Like, I don't touch any of the freelance stuff. But that's digital.scotch.io is that website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys also have Scotch School as well, right?
Yeah, Scotch School, we've kind of like thrown that directly into scotch.io because it started to become such a complex, like there's so many branding things we had with Scotch, but now we're just trying to make it like one thing.
Oh yeah. I always liked your guys' use of emojis. I would always see like a tasty looking donut or something like that, like on the sign up button or something like that. And I'm always like, I got to use that in my designs.
That was, excuse me. That was version 7. We're on 8 right now.
Okay.
But there was emojis almost everywhere on that last one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dabble with putting them in here and there, but yeah, I'm the same way. I'll add some and I'll take some out and,
right.
But yeah, so where's the main income coming from Scotch? So you were able to leave your full-time job to basically take on Scotch full-time, and is this advertising? Is that through Scotch School?
Sure. No, I love talking about this because everyone wonders, like, how do you make a blog profitable, right?
Yeah.
So we definitely have display ads, which, everyone doesn't like display ads. I don't like display ads, but they're a necessary evil, especially when you try to monetize, because that's the first thing you jump to when you want to monetize a blog. So you usually jump to AdSense, Google AdSense.
Yep.
And that'll get you a pretty decent number. When you talk about revenue from ads, you talk about RPM, revenue per milli, is their main statistic. And that's how much do you make for every thousand visitors, 1,000 page views. So what's interesting about our industry is that normal websites like, I don't know, New York Times or something like that would probably do like $7 RPM. So every 1,000 visitors, they make $7. Since we're a tech site, 80% of our users have ad block on. So our numbers are way lower.
That's funny.
And yeah, so we sit at around I don't know, $1.90, $2 RPM.
Have you noticed, do the, you've seen carbon ads before?
Mm-hmm.
Do those also get blocked by the ad blockers?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ad blockers are so good.
Oh, that's funny.
They're so good.
Yeah, I didn't even assume that, since we are, have tech websites, and if you put ads on it, most people, just to let you know, whenever I go to your site, I actually don't have an ad blocker.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I like to see who's advertising, so I will keep the ads on. And I'm probably one of the people who typically click on ads, but I'm not the kind of people that they want, because I will click on an ad just to see what it is.
For science, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like keeping ads on just to see how people, how websites, throw ads onto a site, how if they want to be too annoying with it, which is good because Google's changed their minds and they say if your ads are detrimental to the user experience, we're gonna not derank, but we're gonna show you less.
Oh yeah,
in search results. So yeah, that's display ads, and they do pretty well. I would love to get to a point where display ads are no longer a thing that we use.
Uh-huh.
I would love to get to a point where carbon ads carbon ads is you only are allowed one ad on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that the Vue.js docs uses carbon, and you can see there's only one carbon spot.
Yeah, same with Laravel and a lot of other tech documentation.
Yeah, documentation is where carbon excels, I think. I would love to get to a point where we could only use carbon. But so after carbon, there are sponsorships. And this one is a little harder to get because you have to have some kind of traffic to get sponsorships, right? So you have to have display ads until you can get to the sponsorship level. So we're doing pretty good with sponsorships. We do about 2 a week.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Is it on the homepage?
Yeah, they're on the homepage. Let's see who's on this week. OSCon in Portland is on today.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's right up front on the homepage.
Yeah. So that's interesting. We work with a company called Syndicate, and they help facilitate all these, but they're pretty good at saying, hey, we only want sponsors that will actually fit how Scotch runs, how Scotch's values, stuff like that. So they've been a very good fit for us.
Oh yeah.
But sponsorships, I would say, are our biggest bread and butter. And I'm a fan of being totally transparent, so I don't mind talking numbers. Syndicate or sponsorships run at $1,300 per week.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah, so that's our bread and butter. Display ads make a decent amount of money, but the sponsorships are where it's at. And they're a better fit for the site because usually it's OSCon, or it's a conference, or it's some
tailored towards
Cloudinary, or yeah, exactly.
Very cool. So would you be able to share with us your page views as well? Sure.
So we just hit 4 million page views a month.
Dude, that is amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. We have a lot more stuff coming, but
so tell me a little bit about the Google Dev Expert. You have a certification from Google Dev Expert program, and what does that entail?
Sure. So that entails we had to go through a little bit of a certification process, a little bit of a testing process, interview process. But what the Google Dev Expert program, they look into the community and say who's doing
cool stuff,
good community work. Yeah. And who has enough expertise where they can promote a better web. Because I don't want to say they promote Google only stuff. They actually do really well at saying, hey, we as a whole Google Dev Experts like go out to conferences, go out and speak at meetups to kind of further the web. So I like to focus, like I became a Google Dev expert in Angular, but to be honest, I haven't been doing much Angular lately. So I've actually converted, it's Google Dev expert in web tech is technically what I am.
Okay.
So that kind of transfers over to performance as well. So I do a lot of talks about performance now.
Okay,
like
that's awesome.
Web performance.
So would you recommend other people going through the dev program or the certified program that you went through with Google Dev Experts, if
Sure.
they could? I mean, does it help your career? Does it help you learn a lot more?
Sure. I would say it is definitely a big help to your career. I would say that if you have the opportunity to, 100% go for it. So if we talk about perks, because that's what you ask about, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I asked about. So they look for people that are already not big, but like helpful in the community. So they really like people that are doing, organizing meetups and stuff like that. You have to have a recommendation from a Google employee or another Google Dev expert to jump in to interview, to apply for the program. So that's that. But I will say what I found interesting is like they'll fly you out to different conferences and stuff, put you up in the hotel, get your flight. And that's like the
cool.
monetary perks. Yeah, it's super cool. But the biggest perk I would say is the community that you get to jump into. Like the Slack channel is insane. The number of people in there that are like just pro level devs.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
You could just go in there and send in hey, here's a CodePen, help. And everyone will just jump in there, help you out. Super nice community to be a part of.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So that's one of your Slack groups that you're constantly on?
Yeah, I like to do a little bit of lurking there. I don't really post anything, but no, it's very fun to see, like, because all those people, all the Google Dev experts are usually like conference speakers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's just fun to see how they think and talk.
And you got to surround yourself with, people who are experts, because then I feel like that the more people that you surround yourself with, that's who eventually you're going to become. So if a lot more people are smarter than you all around you, you're just going to get smarter yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that quote? It's if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yep. Yeah.
Like that's one of my favorites.
That's so true. It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to reach out to you too. I see you doing all this cool stuff and I'm like, oh man, I got to talk to that guy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love your designs on all your projects is really, really good.
Oh, thanks, dude.
And I think you have an eye for not just the design side of it, because it's clean design, but I think you have an eye for the usability, UI, UX side of it.
Thank you. It's constant. I'm sure like pixel pushing. Like I will spend a half an hour just to get like one thing aligned right, and it's like off by like half a pixel, and I'm still like looking at it like with my eyes glued to the screen trying to get it just right. But it's fun too. Like I get obsessive about it.
No, I 100% agree. Like so much of Scotch time is dedicated to, should I use 0.5 pixels or 0.9 pixels or 1 pixel? Like, yeah.
So I have a few more questions for you, and then I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
Sure.
So I think I kind of wanted to ask you for myself as well as other people too. If somebody has a side project and they want to eventually, they're just like working hard on it, cranking hard on it, and they just can't seem to find enough time for it when they also have their full-time job. Are there any like recommendations that you can give to them that can kind of give them some encouragement?
Sure. So do you know who, have you looked at Peter Levels?
No, I haven't.
His stuff. So he does nomadlist.com. He does like hoodmaps.com. He does remoteok.io. I like his philosophy. His main thing is basically he's a serial side project launcher is like how he describes himself. And he launches all these things and then just sees if they are successful, right? And now he's been like successful enough that he can only focus on those things. But he has a book called Make. I think it's just make.io. It might be Makebook. Yeah, makebook.io. So this is very much a book for people that want to make side projects successful. And this is kind of his idea for like all the stuff that he's done. And like it's a really good book. One of the things that resonated with me, and this is what I think the advice should be for anyone that wants to start a project.
Very cool.
Is like don't wait until it's it's final, right? Like, don't wait until you're like, oh, I need this V1 to launch this thing, right? So he's a big proponent of getting feedback early in the process. So for one of his projects, he had like a landing page up, and it said buy now on the landing page, but the thing did nothing. The website, there was no app, there was no nothing, but it said buy now, you know? And you're like, what is he selling? So as soon as you clicked buy now, right? And that's the idea of validating early. Is the sales page good enough for somebody to actually give you money upfront? So his buy now button didn't really do anything. It did a little pop-up that said, hey, I'm super excited that you are excited about the product, but we're not ready yet 100%. So here's a newsletter that you can sign up for and get updates for when we go live.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's like one of the things of validating early and trying to like do it in progress, because if you wait until you're done, you miss out on so much feedback in this middle process, in this middle area.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think putting up a landing page, even where people can sign up for something. I used to think back in the day that like, oh, that's just some dumb marketing scheme. But if you build up hype before it, like you're going to be able to, once you release it, you're going to be able to get people, actually to come and check it out. Whereas if you were to just release it, you're just going to hear crickets and nobody's going to want to check it out.
Right. No, it's 100% like the journey, the story you tell is part of your sale.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, totally. I think that's great advice. I think that's awesome. Well, dude, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I just want to say thank you again for meeting with me. It really shows the kind of person you are, because you can just take the time out of your day to talk to anybody, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you reaching out. I love everything you're doing.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
all right.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks again, dude. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks a lot.
See you, dude.